So please share where you were born.
I was born in Poland, Lodz,
What year
1924,
and what month?
June 24.
Okay.
I'm 6/24/24.
Wow.
And I was 15 years when I went into the ghetto with my mother. And
What year was that?
1940 and the beginning of 40.
Yes.
The Germans came in 1939 in September before going back to school. And we were transferred right away to the ghetto. We weren't wealthy, we were poor. We lived in a room, one room, which probably was the size of this whole living room and the kitchen. And it had a division, like in Europe we had the closets built,
Yeah.
with 3 or 4 doors and drawers. So anyway, in 1939 the war started. 1940 we went to the ghetto. And I lived with my mother. We were able to take the bed, the table, and I think we took the closet too. And later on we used it for heating. And
What did your mom work? Did she have a job?
Before that, my mother worked in a factory. She was an invisible mender. She worked over in a textile factory over material that came out from the machines, and she had to check them if they are damaged, if they have a knot. And she worked with a German woman. And when the war started, the German woman wanted to take my mother and me to her house, to her apartment. My mother did not want to jeopardize her.
Wow. It
So-
was dangerous for that woman.
Well, if the Germans would find out that she has a Jew. So we went to the ghetto.
And your father?
My father died 1934.
So it was just you and your mom.
Just me and my mom. We went into the ghetto. We got one room, a little room, small, half the size of this, for the two of us. What was going on in the ghetto, I cannot put it in the words, because it was very disturbing what the Germans did to babies, to children, emptied out the hospitals right away, put them in trucks, and gassed them and burned them outside of the ghetto. Anyway, food was horrible. My mother got sick, and she had the diarrhea and from hunger. So when I was 17 years, and I knew she is sick, and I tried to do everything I could. And when I put on a nightgown on her, so I was sitting behind it to be able to put it on, I felt she sliding down. So I started shaking her, and I spoke to her in Yiddish. You don't understand Yiddish.
A little bit.
A little bit. I said, Mamishi, geh nicht da weg. She said, mein Kind, ich muss gehen, but die bist jung und die musst leben. You understood that?
Could you translate, please?
Yes. She said to me, I have to go, but you are young and you have to live. And she died on my hands. I slept with her in one bed. We had 2 beds, but I slept with her in one bed. And I was left alone in the ghetto. So from there, I moved into my neighbor. My neighbor received, they called it a wedding invitation. And they took her into the truck, yes, the whole family, and died.
What was your mom's name?
Rivka Leia.
We want to remember her, Rivka
Yeah.
Leia.
That's my daughter's name.
We'll
She
get
should
to
live
that.
and be well.
You'll tell
Yeah.
me. You'll tell me.
And then, and yeah, before that, her daughter worked in the hospital. And when the Germans took it over, the hospital was in the ghettos part, but it was closed around the wires. I guess it was for the Polacks to use it too. And she worked there, but she didn't know that the front entrance is closed. So she went with the front entrance and they shot her right away. And then they took the family out,
This is your neighbor.
my neighbor. So I was left alone again because they took me in with my bed.
Right.
So then I went to another friend. That was my aunt's neighbor in Lodge. And her daughter was my age. We became very friendly. And her father also died in the ghetto. And she wanted me to live with them. Sit down.
Thank
You
you.
can be careful.
No, it's okay. I'm good. I want to listen.
Because she had two daughters. The younger one was my age. She had three daughters. One was in a mental institution in Lodge. That they cleaned out right away, the Germans. You know what they did with them. Before they had, see, I'm forgetting already.
I hope that
Auschwitz.
someone's recorded you. I hope someone.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Before they had Auschwitz, they were burning people gassing and burning them in the trucks.
Oy.
So that's what they did with the people from the hospital, people the mentally sick. Anyway, I moved in with my other neighbor, with my friend. And then her older daughter lost the mind. The first one, the oldest one, was in a mental institution. And the second one, the middle one, lost the mind. And my girlfriend and her mother was afraid that she might do something to me. So they moved out and they left me in the apartment. So I lived alone. And luckily, my mother had friends. She was a teacher, and she was able to get me a job to work in a corset place. Like factory, they took over a house, and they made a factory, the Germans, and took everybody, the sewing machines and everything. So I got the job there, but I knew already how to sew on a sewing machine. But I got the job to prepare for the girls, that they were professional corset makers, brassiere makers. See, in Europe, in Poland, in Russia, probably the same way. They didn't have factories like here. The factory makes all the things and all the sizes. A person came in, they checked out, and they ordered. They made it
Yes,
to
yes.
order. We got the material cut out from Germany, and we had to put it together. So at the beginning, my instructor didn't want me to do that. She wanted me to prepare for them to go under the machine. So one time, and I kept on saying, Mrs. Petkovska, I know how to sew. I loved her, and she liked me very much. She had a little girl, too. And her husband, they were professionals. So when they went for lunch or something, I walked over to the machine and I sewed. When she came back, she saw that
Wow.
I knew what I'm doing. So I got the job at the machine.
You're brave.
So I worked, and in 1943, 1943, I remember like now, I went for Passover to have my bread changed for matzah. So they told me my cart is closed. So when I went to home, I still lived in the other, in my place where with my mother lived. A German woman from Leipzig, a Jewish one, called me Fräulein Nagel, Fräulein Nagel. That's Fräulein is
Mrs.
Miss.
Miss.
And Nagel was my maiden name. You have a wedding invitation. And I knew what the wedding invitation is.
That's the end.
Then,
That's how you called it.
yeah, that's what they called it
They
in the
called it.
ghetto. I grabbed the papers, ran back to my place, to my instructor, and I told her. She took the papers and went down to the superintendent and told him she needs me, she cannot run the factory without me. So I got my card back. Till 1944. So I lived alone, and whatever I wasn't a big eater.
So I wanted to ask you, what did you eat?
That's what I want to tell you. I wasn't a big eater, so I was getting a quart of a piece of bread for a whole week, and a certain amount of potatoes, and I think a little margarine too, I think. So that's what we ate. But as I worked, I was getting soup at the break when we broke for lunch. I always walked with my pot. So I had the soup from the kitchen, so I was all right. So one night, which we knew that they took out young people that worked at the Vazhivna. You know what Vazhivna? Fruit, all kind of carrots or whatever, potato. She worked on the potato plant. Those people that worked on plants like that, young ones, they were drafted to go to camp. One night, March, I don't remember, March the 15th or something like that, I worked with another girl that lived under me. She was from another city, but they brought in all the people from the outskirts of Lodz. They brought into the Lodz ghetto. I heard them knock in her door, and she lived with her aunt and uncle. And I said to myself, and I used to love to read. So I would lay in bed till 12 o'clock and read. I hear knocking in the door. I said, Paula, they coming from you for you too. And that's exactly how it was. Later on, I hear a knock on my door, and I didn't lock the door, because who was I locking the door from? And they came in, 2 policemen. They told me to get dressed. I said, okay. But I said, please go, stay, look out the window. My bed was there in the corner, and I'll get dressed. I didn't want to get dressed for men to look, to see me what I'm doing. I got dressed. My backpack was always packed. And whatever I could. Yeah, I worked with the girl. She always ran out of potatoes. So she would come to me, borrow potato. And I remember I used to say, I'm lending you potatoes. You running short of the potatoes. When will you give me back? But I was able to give it to her because I wasn't a big eater. If I had my soup and I came home, I had a piece of bread with something, that was enough for me. So I could give her some potatoes. And she was a bigger eater. So anyway, they came in, I got dressed. Lucky for me that one policeman's daughter worked in my place. So I wrote a letter to my instructor. I wanted her to come into the apartment, to the room, and take out something that I could use later. And at the beginning, and they took me to a prison. But we were able to walk around. And I remember they would call girls back to the ghetto. And I used to say, dziewczyny, that you'll understand. Dziewczyny, nie idźcie do getta, bo my nie idziemy na śmierć. We are not going to die. People were changing with bread. They gave you a loaf of bread so they could take out the person, and the person that took the loaf of bread went on their place. And I had the feeling that we are not going to a death camp at that time. So, and my instructor wanted to take me out again. And I said to her, Mrs. Piotkowska, once you saved my life. This time I have a feeling I am not going to a death camp. Thank you very much for trying to save me. And I didn't. She had a little girl, Danka. And I went to the camp, to Częstochow. You heard of Częstochowa? Ammunition factory. When we came in, people that were already there, they were from Częstochow. They used to go in and out. Like you come to work. One day in the summer, they closed it. They were left with summer clothes, no winter clothes, and we came in March. So, of course, they asked us if we have stuff to sell for them. And we did. And we were able to buy, we worked with Polish girls. So we were able to exchange and get whatever we needed. And I was in that camp. So what they did, they knew that the ghetto, we were hungry. People were dying from hunger. People were laying dead in the streets. They didn't even have time to pick them up. They killed babies. I'm telling you, when I was talking in synagogues or schools, I couldn't say that. They tore a baby in half. They knocked the baby in the brick, and then the brain splashed. It was horrible. It
so
was
sorry.
horrible. Like I said, people were laying in the street dead. So when I went to the So they knew that we were short in food. They each saved a piece of bread for us.
People that worked in that factory.
Yeah,
Wow.
that they were nice. They were all
They were
from
Jews.
Jews, all
Now,
Jews.
is it okay if I ask you, were you religious at the time? What was your connection to God? How were you?
My connection to God is always praying and hoping and living with hope and asking for a miracle. And I always talk to my mother for help, and she helped me. Being dead, one time in the ghetto, I lived in my neighbor's house when it was empty already. I came back from work and I got sick. And I went to bed with my bread under the pillow. And I cried and I talked to my mother. Mommy, I won't be able to go to work. I'm sick. She came to my dream. We had an iron stove in the middle, you know.
Wow.
She came to my dream. She's sitting on a little bench by the stove, and I'm on the floor with my head on her lap. And she brought me apples. And she said, in Jewish, my kind, eat an apple now, take one to work tomorrow. I said, Mama, I cannot go to work, I'm sick. You will go to work. Sure enough, I went to work.
Wow.
A couple times, even when I was in camp, I got sick, and she saved me too.
How did that happen?
I had a cold, and I was afraid once I have a cold and I am in the reformatory.
It doesn't matter. I
Yeah,
understand.
I had. So I was afraid. She came to my dream, and she told me I'll be all right.
Wow.
And
She
I was
looked
all
out
right.
for you
Yes.
from the other side.
Yes. I loved her. I was very close with my
And in the
mother.
moment she passed, you didn't lose hope. What were your
No, no.
feelings?
I was feeling lost. Why would she die on me? But then she wasn't the only one. We were dying from hunger. People were dying from hunger.
I would like to know a little bit. How, you were in the camp, and then for how many years before the war ended?
5 years.
You were there.
4 years in the ghetto, 1 year in camp.
And then you finished the war when you were in camp.
Right. The Russians.
The ammunition, that ammunition factory.
Yeah. The Russians liberated us.
Say the name again of that city next door, or of that camp.
And Chenstohov.
And
At the
Chenstohov.
beginning, I was a Cossack. Then from Skarzysko, they brought other people because the Russians were coming closer. So they took me to the Varta. And that's where I was liberated, in the Varta. And we were ready again. A Battenschlager from Skarzysko came to us. At night, they shipped out the men. Excuse me. And then, excuse me, in the morning, we were supposed to be ready to be shipped out. And we went to the warehouse to wait for the train to come in. The train would come in, and then the train would take the people out of the city and then tell them, get out, we need a train for the soldiers. They to walk to Germany, from Poland to walk to Germany, walking. A lot of people were killed on the walk, on the march. And we were waiting for the train, waiting. And the Ukrainians were watching the camp already, not the Germans. As we went to the warehouse, the German soldiers were standing with the rifle. Then the Ukrainians, I remember like now, I moved out accidentally with my pot hanging to my backpack, and I was at the edge, and he must have been like 16 years old or 17. He said, move in or I'm going to kill you, a Ukrainian. Of course, I moved in right away. And we waited, no train came. So they took us back to the barracks. Going back to the barracks was no soldier, was civilian Germans. And one said, you won and we lost, in German, which we understood. German and Jewish is very similar.
Yeah.
But we were still afraid that we'll go back and they'll come in and they'll kill us, because they were with rifles, the civilians.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And when we took a look at the watch point, nobody was there. Also, Ukrainians were watching us, but then nobody was there. So we were 4 girls, friends. I was the youngest one of them. So I ran into the warehouse where they kept the food and whatever, and I brought the long pieces of soap. I took 2 long pieces of soap, and I figured with that we can help ourselves.
Right.
And then I ran in for a pair of shoes for my girlfriend, my concentration camp sister. And we were up a whole night. And in the morning, a Russian tank came in with a woman on top, a Russian woman. We all ran to them. We kissed them, hugged them.
Liberation.
We were liberated.
What was your name your mommy gave you?
Pearl Hinder.
Pearl.
My Jewish name.
Yeah.
That's
Pearl.
Pearl.
Hinda.
Yeah, but not Pearl. Pearl.
Pearl. Yes.
But in
Pearl
English it's
Hinder.
Pearl.
Yes, in English.
But when Rosa yesterday asked me, "You hot?"
No, my hand hurt because of. But I want to finish because I
Yeah.
want to ask on the camera a few more minutes.
Yeah.
I'll hang in.
Pearl, Rosa asked me, "What should I call you, Paula or Pearl?"
Pearl.
I said, "You can call me Pearl Hinder.
Of
That's
course.
my Jewish name."
That's right.
And that's what she called. The kids were wonderful.
Can you please tell me so kindly, Pearl
Yeah.
Hinda, after the war you married on what year?
After the war, we were 4 girls. We got finally an apartment. I didn't tell you then that the ghetto was liquidated in August 44. They kept 800 people to clean up the ghetto, to send all the machines and everything to Germany. And they had to dig 8 graves, 100 people for 1 grave, to kill the Jews. But the Jews were smarter than them. After they cleaned up the ghetto, they hid. They scattered around. The ghetto was big. They scattered around. And of course, Russia came in. So my girlfriend's father-in-law, she told me, she became my girlfriend here, that he called out to her husband, Yoina, get out, we are free. And those people were liberated the forest. And one got, and they went into German apartments and took whatever they wanted. Two girls were from, oh boy, a different city. And the guy was from a different city that we met. It's more to it.
But I want to know about
Yeah.
you, and if you don't mind sharing, because there's so
Getting
many
married.
stories. I want to know what
Yeah.
year. I would
So-
like to record in 2 minutes, like what happened after in your life.
All right. So when we came to lodge, we slept over at Four Guys. We slept we were four girls, slept in the bed. The four guys slept on the floor. They had a manufacturing factory, the parents. They were two brothers and two friends. Anyway, we got into the apartment. We had the apartment. And he got a sewing machine for us, so I was right away able to make a sign that we make corset brassiers, because one was originally a corset, and I learned. So that was in the ghetto. The two of them from Zuiskavola went to Israel. They didn't go straight. They had to go through cities and countries.
Would it be okay if I ask you when you got married?
That's what I want to tell you.
Yes, thank you.
So the two of them left, and two girls were in the apartment. One time we went across because, in Poland they had courtyards, not like here, homes. And Russia probably too. We went across to a courtyard, and the girl that I was left with found two distant cousins, fourth, fifth cousin, but they lived in one building in the ghetto. They just came back from Auschwitz. They didn't have where to go. She said to me, Paula, what do we do? I said, Hanka, we have 2 bedrooms. We'll give the guys 1 bedroom. They are not going to stay outside, because I knew I wanted to see my room that we lived in. The janitor told me, don't. Turn around and go back. So we took them in, and I married
What's his name? Your special prince,
my special prince. Hebrew was Eliezer.
Eliezer. And when?
And in English on the Leon. And we got married. We wouldn't have gotten married so early. But
Sorry, hurts.
yeah, but we got married because one cousin came back from Germany and told my girlfriend that 3 sisters of her survived Bergen-Belsen.
Okay.
So, of course, we packed up, but I wasn't married yet. I said to my fiance or whatever, I cannot go, because I'm not going to go if I'm not married, because I don't know what conditions we're going to be. So anyway, we both got married.
Do you remember the day?
Of course, October the 30th, 1945.
I'm gonna pause, if that's okay, because
Yeah.
it's a long video. If you don't mind sharing, last thing, if you don't mind, you had a daughter.
I had a son. My son was born in Germany. My daughter was born in the United States. My son was born 1947. My daughter was born 1951. Both in January.
And you have grandchildren?
I have 6 grandchildren, 8 great-grandchildren.
Baruch
and
Hashem.
two came with it, so it's 10 altogether.
So after the war, what was your job?
After the war, I came in here to America, to Philadelphia, and my husband had an uncle. I really wanted to go to Israel,
Yeah.
but I was told it's not good. My husband wasn't a well man.
So
He
what
had-
kind of job did you have and he had?
My husband was a Kamaszynstepper. I don't know if you know. In Poland, they used to make, probably in Russia too, uppers, and then the shoemaker
Shoemaker.
made the salt and everything.
I
And
understand.
they went into a store and sold it. Here you have factories.
Yes. And you?
I didn't have a profession except to
Right.
make the braziers. So one time we walked, I don't know if you know Strawberry Mansion,
A little bit, not so
on
much.
York Street. There was my lady or something, a brazier thing. I said to my husband, you know what? Stay here with Manny. I'll go across and I'll ask if I can get a job. I went across. I spoke to the woman in Yiddish. I didn't know English. So she said to me in Yiddish, how will you be able to understand when a customer will say, it's tight here or it's loose there or whatever? She said, go home, learn English, and then come back and I'll hire you. I went across to my husband. I said, I cannot get a job because I don't know English. I want to have a baby. That was 1950. That's when my daughter was born, 1950.
And I just want to ask you about the last thing on
Yeah.
the video. I'm so honored that you shared this with me. What was it like for you to name your daughter after your mother?
Believe me, I pray to God that I'm going to have a girl. My son kept on saying he wants a cowgirl. He was a cowboy and he wants a cowgirl. God blessed me with my daughter. And of course, Rivka Leah. It's in English, Ruth Lee.
And you feel like your mother lives on.
I call her Mama New.
What kind of message do you feel like you want to share with the new generation?
To be close with the parents, to love the parents, like I told a couple people here too. Don't forget, you only have one mother and you're one father. You can have a lot of wives, but you can only have one mother and one father. I told people here,